Hello, and welcome to Cutting Training. Today, we are going to be demonstrating a long bob with texture, as we see here. So you can see that Jess has a lot of nice movement in her hair. It's not a very short bob, but the ends are very texturized, and there is some face framing that's personalized to suit her hair texture. And I'll show you how to do it.
As you can see, our model has a beautiful natural texture to her hair. For this haircut, we want to use that natural texture to our advantage and create a look that truly suits her. To establish our guide for the haircut, consult with your guest on where you would like the front face frame to sit. To do this, find where the hair splits in the crown and divide the hair from front to back. This is usually from ear to ear and over the crown. Now let's cut our guide for the front to the desired length. You can use either a blunt cutting technique or point cutting, as shown here. Repeat the same technique on the opposite side, then check for balance. Once the guide has been cut, you can shampoo the hair and perform the haircut wet. Today, however, we'll be cutting Jess's hair dry, as this haircut will be highly texturized. Now divide the hair into sections, from the natural parting to the nape, and from recession to recession around the crown. This sectioning allows you to use the guide we just cut to build the rest of the haircut. Make sure your guest's neck and head are in a neutral position. Avoid having them lean too far forward, as this can cause the back to end up slightly longer than intended. Starting in the nape, take small horizontal sections, adjusting the size of each section depending on the hair density. Flat iron each section until smooth. This will help you achieve a very even and balanced end result. It is not necessary to smooth the hair all the way to the ends, as they will be removed. Now locate your previously cut guide from the front and over-direct it to the section in the nape. Comb the hair into natural fall, then cut the length in the back so it lines up with your guide. You can use point cutting if you want a softer finish, but our stylist Blade has chosen to use a blunt cutting technique for the perimeter. Make sure your comb is not placing tension on the hair. Keep the teeth of the comb parallel to the floor and gently push your shears from behind to keep the hair sitting in the teeth of your cutting comb. Repeat this process by releasing the next section, flat ironing it smooth and continuing to cut to match the perimeter length. As you progress, texturize each section using deep point cutting. This will add softness and movement to the shape. Here, we are cutting quite deeply into the hair. For less texture, use more shallow point cutting. Check for balance. Repeat this process on both sides and continue working up the back of the head until you reach the crown. Once the back section is complete, have your guest tilt forward and comb the hair down. This will reveal any inconsistencies that can be removed. Here, Blade uses a detail trimmer to remove excess hair. Now move to the side section and continue the same process of flat ironing and cutting. Have your guest lean slightly away from the side you are cutting. This will help retain length and allow you to properly connect to your guide. Finally, check for balance and make any small adjustments to the perimeter. With our model today, there are some existing layers that are quite harsh. Let's go ahead and soften them. Start by taking a small triangular section from the center parting and use a backslice cutting technique to create a small guide. Now connect that guide to the rest of the layers. Here we will use deep point cutting to soften the lines. Check visually to see if the shape connects. Although it does connect, the front section is still too heavy and does not blend seamlessly into the rest of the shape. To correct this, use a slide cutting technique to remove excess weight. Repeat on the opposite side. Again, check for balance and even weight distribution. To create even more movement within the shape and add extra volume, we will now cut some increased layers. Taking vertical sections, over-direct the hair up and away from the head at a 90-degree angle from the top of the head. Remove the corner by slide cutting. This will create very soft movement with no visible steps in the layers. Repeat this throughout the rest of the hair, over-directing your sections slightly toward the back. As you can see, we now have great movement with no visible lines. Now let's remove some bulk and further soften the shape. You may wish to avoid this technique if your client has very curly hair, as it can cause the hair to become overly frizzy. After sectioning out the crown, take consistent triangular sections of hair and pull each section out from the head. Slide cut to remove weight. The higher you start cutting, the more weight will be removed. Make sure to gently but deliberately close your shears as you move down the hair. You do not want to drag the hair along the blade and razor it, as this can cause damage. Repeat this step as needed. Now style the hair as desired. If you wish to add a curl or wave, it is recommended to slightly dampen the hair and dry it again first. If the hair has just been flat ironed, it may not hold a curl for very long. To create a textured, undone look, alternate the direction of each curl and keep the ends of the hair straight. Finish with a texture spray to lock in the beachy texture. Now take a look at the beautiful shape we've created. Jess now has a gorgeous long bob with plenty of movement and texture. This look will not only turn heads but also give her so much versatility in her styling.